So, when you think of the state of Arizona, what exactly comes to mind?
Hot.
Or what do you visualize in your mind?
Cactuses.
Would it be along the lines of an extremely hot desert? Or do you think of any rain or snow or any green grass? What about any animals or plant life that might live there? If you said to yourself that Arizona is a hot, dry desert, you would only be somewhat correct. It's actually a misconception that Arizona is a hot, dry desert all year round, and that there isn't any green or any snow, and that it's only filled with cactus and rattlesnakes.
See?
But both of these photos actually show the true weather in Arizona. However, Arizona is split into 3 different climate zones, which is based off the state's elevation. The elevations are the desert, which is the southwest region, the mountains, which are in the center, and the plateaus, which are the highest in the north. I've done research, and I've actually been in Arizona twice, where I've been on vacation and can feel the temperature differences, where you can say, let's say in Phoenix where it's about 90 degrees at night, and you can go about 2 hours north to a city called Scottsdale, which it's about 25 degrees cooler in difference. And this is me in Arizona.
Woo!
Actually the desert portion.
Look at the size of that thing. That's big.
Yeah, that's actually called a saguaro cactus.
That's pretty neat.
So explain how that's possible. I'm going to go over the 3 different regions which we've just looked at, and some facts about each of them. And we'll talk about some of Arizona's record-breaking weather facts, or facts that have been newsworthy to talk about. And then we'll talk about some of the plant life that also changes with the different climate zones. And we'll talk about some of the things that the people do when it gets too hot or too cold up north. So the main factor that's responsible for the climate change of the differences in Arizona is the elevation. The changes in elevation throughout the state make the temperatures vary pretty drastically. The first region we're going to look at is the dry desert valleys of southwest Arizona. No area is greater than 3,500 feet, and the Sonora Desert, which covers most of the southwestern portion of Arizona, is one of the hottest and driest places in North America. Average high in the summer can be about 100 degrees, and average low in winter can be down to 65 degrees, and average rainfall is 4 inches of rain per year. Next we have the cool wet mountains of the Central Highlands. And the average elevation is 4,500 feet. Average temperature is about 80 degrees in the summer and about 40 degrees in the winter. Winter precipitation comes as snow in this region. And this part of Arizona actually looks like the area of Pennsylvania that we live in. Third, we have the Grand Canyon and the Colorado Plateau. These elevations are of 7,500 feet with mountain peaks at over 12,000 feet. High temperatures are 80 degrees in the summer and 30 degrees in the winter. And again, precipitation mostly in this area comes as snow in the winter. So as we can see, the different climates, you understand the 3 major different climates in Arizona and how they are different temperature zones. Now we're going to take a look at some important weather facts and what people do in Arizona to deal with the temperature changes. According to the Arizona Central newspaper, there have been 5 top recorded weather incidences that have been newsworthy and been a top record of some sort. February 2nd, 1939 was the snowiest day. In 24 hours, 0.4 inches of rain fell in the Phoenix area. January 5th, 1950 was the coldest day, and temperatures dropped to just 17 degrees, in Phoenix. June 16th, 1990 equals the hottest day when temperatures reached up to 122 degrees.
Is that why they're cooking on the dashboard?
Yes, we will get there. July 18th, 2005 was the windiest day when top speeds of wind reached up to 77 miles per hour. September 8th, 2014, they considered what Phoenix considered a flood. 3.3 inches of rain fell at the Sky Harbor because, well, they consider this a flood in Phoenix because average rainfall is only 4 inches of rain per year. So this slide is just some pictures that I put together of some instances of weather. This guy is in a tank top and shorts, which the area of Arizona he's probably from, he's not used to having snow or using a shovel.
No, he was too happy.
This is just a picture that I found I thought was interesting because you don't see snow in the desert. That's the cold, and then the heat. People actually do bake cookies on their dashboards, which is actually very interesting, but it's not true to be able to cook an egg on the sidewalk because the sidewalk has to be 158 degrees and it doesn't get that hot, but that it gets hot. And also we have a mailbox melting, which it does get that hot that your mailbox will melt.
No mail today.
Another term we're going to look at is called snowbirds. And snowbirds are people who live in the northern part of Arizona where cold is expected in the winter along with snow. They're usually retired people or people that can move down from the north to the south, can leave their permanent homes for a couple months during the winter months. Snowbird season is from October to May. After this time, they pack up and move back up north, where the summers are more bearable. The biggest sub-city in Phoenix that's available to accommodate these snowbirds with the most furnished apartments and places they can rent quickly is a city called Sun City. Snowbirds clog the Phoenix area during the winter months, and traffic is tripled, and sporting events are doubled in crowds. This is just a little comic I found where he's going south with the birds. Now that we talked about the cold, let's talk about what people do in the heat in the summers of southern Arizona, where the temps can easily reach over 100 degrees daily. According to the Arizona Central Report Survey, even though the temperatures are high, the dry heat makes it more bearable without all the humidity. Many water parks are in the Phoenix area. Many of their boats and cruises are air conditioned. And the #1 Phoenix day trip to get away from the extreme heat would be a 2-hour drive to a city called Flagstaff. And even though it's a 2-hour drive, the temperature is about 25 degrees difference. Where it would be 100 degrees or more in Phoenix, it's only 80 degrees in Flagstaff. So that's a pretty big difference in the temperature. It's more comfortable, and there's plenty of things to do there. Or you can just sit in the AC, but that's no fun, right? Okay. Now that we talked about the climates and the weather, let's take a look at some of the plant life and animal life that varies across the state of Arizona. As with the differences in temperature and climate, the animal life and plant life also changes along with the scenery. In the southwest part of Arizona, we have the desert plant life, which is mostly known for its cacti, which is plural for cactus, prickly pears, which we have here, and some colorful Mexican flowers that bloom in the spring. The largest cactus is called the saguaro cactus, which are these guys here. They don't look very tall in pictures, but when you stand there, they're like 4 of you, like way high. And they have about up to 20 arms, and they can grow up. The highest one was 80 feet tall and can live up to 200 years. Desert animal life is a variation of different types of lizards. The Gila monster, which is one of the most poisonous lizards in North America, the rattlesnake, jaguars, and also coyotes, roadrunners, scorpions, and prairie dogs. In the northern mountain plant life, which obviously looks very different from what we just seen in the desert, this area of Arizona looks more like where we're from, here in Pennsylvania. We have here in this region, we have pine trees, walnut and oak trees, and many different variations of colorful flowers. The northern mountain animal life, again, very different animals, are wolves, bears, various different types of birds, elk, turkey, and deer. So we went over and discussed the different regions of Arizona and their climate changes, talked about the different types of temperatures and what people do to get away from the extreme heat or cold, and we got to go over some plant life and animal life that vary throughout the different sceneries of Arizona. This information concludes my original statement, being that there is only one main element to the state of Arizona having many different colorful sceneries and different climates, which is due to the fact, again, it's based off elevation. With this being said, we can now see that it is a myth that Arizona is a hot, dry desert all year round with no rain, no snow, no green grass, and that it's a fact that Arizona is a beautiful state filled with diversity and a little bit of it for everyone. Yay.